And here we go, the man himself.
Hello, you right?
I'm good. Yeah, sorry for the sort of technical thing there, Alex. So, how are we going to call you tonight? Alex, or Peds, as you're fondly known
Heads,
around
Alex. Goalkeeper, whatever you want. I'm easy.
the club? I've got to ask Alex, right? Where does the nickname Peds come from?
I've had it since I was at high school. Back when the famous Football Factory in Green Street came out, my friends decided to make a little gang up, and back I weren't with them at the time, but the next day they just kept calling me Pedro, and there weren't really no reason. That was at the time when a film called Vote for Pedro was out, and that stuck, and I didn't really have no real interest. There weren't really an interesting story, but it stuck ever since.
So you've had that for about 13 years, that nickname?
Yeah, I had letters coming back from school and college basically calling me Pedro Street, and I had to tell them that my real name was actually Alex.
Well, I'm glad we cleared that one up, because I was thinking, obviously, because I was obviously at the game, wasn't I, at Saturday?
Yeah.
The big one between Bedford and Burco, and yeah, 'cause obviously Dan said to me, like, oh, Peds this, and even Darren was saying, Darren Eady, obviously assistant manager, was saying Peds. Why the bloody hell's Peds? Like, what?
That's fine. No, even my own grandma calls me Peds, so it don't really matter too much.
Right, so everyone is watching. Thanks for tuning in. It's obviously great. If you can't watch the whole thing, don't worry. This will be keep you busy tonight, because after we finish, I have to sort of edit it and get it all uploaded everywhere. So don't panic if you can't watch it all. It'll be available to all of you. So what their sort of plan is tonight, Alex and I are just going to have a chat about him, about football, and obviously about the mighty Eagles, Bedford. So we have to start, don't we, Alex, really? Now we've got the nickname out of the way, we've got to look back to that game on Saturday. Honestly, I was so thoroughly impressed with you boys. Just the dominance of the team on the field from start to finish was unreal. But what was it like from you, your perspective as captain of the side?
We know, to be honest, when we played them away, we knew we were a better side. That was the result. Didn't show that on the day because we lost 1-0 away, but we knew we were the better team. That's just that lapse of concentration, that game that cost us. So going into Saturday, knowing that there was going to be a big crowd, and that was just about who makes the least mistakes wins the game. And in all fairness, the game was, we probably had the better chances. I don't remember them having a shot, to be honest. So, yeah, I mean, that was a edgy game because we knew what was at stake. But I think, in fairness, no one can complain with the result because we were by far the better team on the day.
And there's been a nice little video floating around on social media in the last 48 hours. I think you know what I'm alluding to. Someone on the field, I believe, was playing up to the crowd. Who could that be?
I enjoy it. I enjoy that part. I enjoy the crowd giving me stick. That helps as a goalkeeper. You'll go through spells and large spells of the game where you're not doing anything. So yeah, when the crowd are trying to get on your back and little things, that just sort of embraces you to stay switched on and give them a little bit back. And yeah, I love all that. I enjoy it, and I love the stick that I get.
Well, I love the fact as well that you weren't even phased when the ball was sort of thrown onto the field and whacked you on the back of the head. You just sort of stood there and took it.
I'm a goalkeeper. Things like that ain't going to bother me too much. I'm supposed to get kicked in the head, so a ball's not going to worry me too much.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to plug this really, because I saw it during the week, and I know I even reshared it in my own stuff as well. Obviously, Rene, I mean, obviously having a great season anyway, but what a personal achievement for him. Over 600 games now in football, professional and obviously semi-pro, and has bagged 200 goals plus now. Unbelievable career.
Yeah, I mean, he's done well. He's a very good goal poacher, and he's had a great career. I mean, I've played against him a few times when I was at Kings Lynn, when he was at Kettering, and coming into this year, actually sort of meeting him, he's a good lad, and he, like I say, he's been around the game, so he knows how to play in these big games, and yeah, he keeps scoring goals for us, and good for him, really. That's keeping us up there, really. Without his goals, we'd probably struggle a little bit, but he's doing the job for us, so fair play to him.
And the second goal, obviously the absolute worldie from Sanders. What was your view of that? Please tell me you got a good view of it.
I was right behind it. I mean, I think the keeper should have caught it, to be honest. But I mean, we'll take the goal, won't we?
You would have saved it, right? You would have saved it.
Well, it was right next to him, wasn't it? Nah, I mean, Charlie has hit that so hard, and that has flew. I mean, that's not gone in the corner, so I'm not going to say it's goal of the season because we've hit better ones than that this year. But the raw pace of what he hit that at was ridiculous, and I'd have loved to know how quick that was going because that was fast. He does it in training all the time. He hits it so hard.
Oh, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah,
I'm still there. I'm still there.
Little glitch. So you mentioned earlier about the crowd. Obviously, it was absolutely unreal to be there as a spectator on Saturday. What was it? So 1,254, and that was up there with clubs obviously in Step 2 in non-league. Obviously, you've experienced all that paired as a player down the years anyway, but not all the boys in the team would have played in front of crowds that size before.
No, I think what you've got is that when the clubs are doing well, there's always fans that come out and support. And I think Bedford have been asleep for a long period of time now, and they've now got something to be excited for. And that brings people out, and people who haven't been in years, they'll come and watch, and they enjoy the club. I had it at Kings Lynn. We averaged out low 600s at the start, and then the more leagues we went up, the attendances were averaging out at 1,200. And we then went and had bigger games. So, I mean, going to Bedford Saturday was a great crowd. I think the last few home games we've had over 600, which is fantastic for the club, and the people behind the scenes are doing everything they can to keep the people coming in. And as long as we keep doing the right thing on the pitch, hopefully more will keep coming.
Absolutely. I'm sure all the Eagles fans will be really thrilled to hear that, Alex. So I had a look back, right, over the last 9 games for the club. It's a really impressive record. I wouldn't be surprised if it's right up there in Eagles history. So I had a look back. The last 9 games, right, the club is undefeated in the last 9 and have won 6 of the last 9 games.
Yeah.
That's just absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing well. I think we're finding a way, when we're not playing well, is grinding out a result to either get a draw or sneak the win. We got the win late on against Ware, which is a great result for us. We went, obviously, 2-0 down to Tame and then went on to draw, which ended up being a great point for us, considering where we was at. Yeah, we're just looking hard to beat, and that's the key to being higher up in the league. As long as you're hard to beat, you'll be quite successful.
Cool. Well, so it's an interesting one then. So your experience, obviously the captain of the side. What do you see as the strengths of the team this season at Bedford?
The strength is probably the togetherness that we've brought in. That was tough at the start because that was little groups and individuals, and like I say, they were comfortable at where they were. Now we've brought in extra amount of players, and we've got this togetherness which drives hunger throughout the training and the games, and we've started to demand more from each other, which is probably a massive result into why we're being so successful at the moment. Okay,
that's fair. I like that. Well, let's do a bit of a Yui now. So we talked about the last game, obviously about Bedford slightly in the form and that. So let's look at you, obviously personally, Alex. So in terms of your your own sort of boyhood club. Who's the boyhood club that you grew up watching, and who for you has been your favourite football player of all time?
So my boyhood club is Bolton Wanderers.
Oh wow!
My family were born and bred in Bolton, and I've just followed. I've just become a Bolton fan really, and obviously growing up as a kid, my favourite goalie was Jussi Jääskeläinen.
Yeah, well, he was a good goalie though, to be fair, in the
Yeah.
Premier League.
So I used to use the same boots and try and half volley it the same way as he did. So I've never been as skinny as him, but I'll try to replicate him.
He never dyed his hair like him, did you?
Nah, not quite. No. To be fair, I'm only a couple of haircuts away from it going. So
hey, you got a great head of hair, Alex.
I don't think so. I like cover it up well.
So your playing career, right? So I've done a bit of digging today. Right. It's very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. You know, you don't really need me to tell you that, but it is really impressive. So you have to correct me if I'm wrong now. So probably at the age then of school, 16, started off with Wisbech. Is that right? Wisbech, sorry, pronunciation. And then at 18, obviously you went on to the big club where you're an absolute hero there, Kings Lynn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you broke quite a few records there. So I know you had more than one stint there, but from looking at the record books, it sounds like, from what I read, you had just under 500 appearances at Kings Lynn and 139 clean sheets.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
And then, obviously, in between, various things going back to Kings Lynn, there was Deeping, Spalding, is it Leiston?
Yeah.
And then, obviously, where you are now, Bedford Town. Is that the whole lot?
Yeah, so I went from Wisbech to Kings Lynn, and then I think after in the third season, I got sent out on loan after about 10 games. So I had a couple of games at Deeping and a couple of games at Spalding, and then I was still sitting around, and Lynn went on to win the league that year, and I ended up going to play the same level for Leiston for the first 10 games of the following season, and then got recalled.
Right. So for you, out of all the years so far, what for you has been the biggest achievement in your playing career? I know there's been a few, but what for you is the one standout moment?
My best standout probably is the promotion when we won the Super Playoff final away at Warrington with Kings Lynn. I mean that was because you've played the full season and you've done the hard work, and then you had to go away and win, and with the dramatic way we won it as well, you'll never get that feeling of lifting. I mean, there was only like a winner's plate shield type thing, but you'll never get the feeling of actually winning a trophy. I mean, like I say, I've got a Conference North winners medal, but the season got cut short. We went on points per game. You'll never take the medal away from us, but that'll never sit as high as actually the year before when we done the full graph for the full season. And like I think we snuck second to get home advantage as well that year for the playoffs, and then we eased through the playoffs really, and then the Super Playoff final was just a great day for everyone involved with the club. So that's probably my best.
Okay, so some real highs there. So surely I'm asking an obvious question here, but man, it must have been so difficult to leave Kings Lynn after a very, very successful time there. You spent many years there.
Yeah, I mean that was a tough point because I didn't want to leave. I love the club, and then still a big part of my career. So I've got no faults for the club at all, or the way we left. That was just they brought in a young lad who, to be honest, I didn't think was better than me, especially at the time what the club were trying to do. I think he'll go on to have a good career, but at the time I thought I was the right person for that team. And I remember I played the first 2 games. We drew and won. And then I get dropped for the next 3. And we lose all 3 on the bounce. And we concede over 10 goals. So that was just, I thought I was the right person. I've never been technically good on the eye, but I've always been good at commanding my area. And with not letting many goals in from like corners and free kicks and things like that, which do help massively in football. So I shook hands with the manager. I couldn't sit on a bench for a guy I didn't think was better than me. If they'd have brought in the lad they had now, Paul Jones, I may have respected that and said I might be able to learn a thing or two off him, but not from a 19-year-old kid. When I'm 30 years old, I weren't going to learn a lot from him. So it was just time for me to move away, really. And it was a shame that it was just a thanks for your time, because it was COVID time. That was just a thanks for your efforts and see you soon sort of thing. So that was the only downfall, but I've got no regrets.
No, that's very, very open and honest of you, Alex, to say that. So how did that, obviously, sort of make sense, but then physically, in terms of the Bedford, obviously, scenario, how did that move materialise?
Well, to be honest, I was obviously trying to look for a conference north or south club at the time.
Right.
But that was, you're talking 3-4 weeks into a season. So everyone had signed players on contracts, vice versa. So it was tough to get me in anywhere, really. And then I had a couple of phone calls from a couple of Step 3 and some Step 4 clubs, but none had the ambition that Bedford had. People wanted me to go in, and because of the last few years I had at Kings Lynn being quite successful, I wanted to keep pushing on and achieving. There's no point just surviving in football. You want to go and try and achieve and win and play in the playoff games and win titles. So, and Bedford wanted promotion, and they wanted to kick on again after that. So that seemed right. So that was I think at the time that was a good move for me, and that's going all right at the minute. So I can't grumble too much.
Absolutely. Dan's just put a message to basically say, great interview so far. Pedro, sort your hair out, son.
What's wrong with it?
You can catch up with him at the weekend, I think. Okay, so the key bit of equipment, every goalkeeper, and I've obviously done an Insta Live with North Lee's number 1, Alex Northey, recently. So the goalkeeping gloves that you wear, who are they?
S1 Goalkeeping. They're I've been with them now for probably 4 or 5 years now, I think. And they started off small like everyone else does, and I've just been with them ever since, really. They're a good, reliable glove, and to be honest, gloves don't change too much. The latex are all the same. They just put their own stamp on them, don't they? The latex don't really change much. There's just some qualities a little bit better than others, and everyone tries their own. So I'm all for helping out up and coming people with trying their gloves, and I've been with S1, and I've not really changed too much. I mean, not really had a problem with them, and I enjoy the glove.
I like that. Thank you. So the week, obviously, it's very, very hard in non-league football because we all have very busy lives. But for you, what does your average week look like?
Just with work or just with football?
Everything. Yeah, so everything with football, work.
So usually, for the last few weeks, I leave my house probably about 4:30 on a Monday morning.
Wow.
And then I don't get home until Friday. But in between that, I like lately we've been doing if we haven't had a game on a Tuesday, we'll go for a sort of a 5K run, and then on Thursdays we train. So I mean, I don't know if you can see, but the lads are over there somewhere training while I'm sat here doing this. So
fantastic. I wondered where you were.
well, I'm not going to stand outside. It's cold.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But yeah, no. So we travel. I mean, I've been working in Birmingham, so I've travelled back for training tonight, and then we'll travel back to Birmingham afterwards, do my day's graft tomorrow, and go home and prep myself ready for Saturday, and then pack my bag on a Sunday, ready to go again Monday. So yeah, that's pretty non-stop for me, but we do a lot of miles, but that's all worth it in the end when you get to play your football and have a couple of beers afterwards.
Love that. That's proper commitment. That I absolutely adore that. So let's talk about that lovely duo that you've got at Bedford. Obviously, Gary and Darren. So obviously the two top dogs running the show for the Eagles. What is that like? Obviously to play under them two.
It's good. Like for Gary leaves a lot of the coaching to Graham Tomlinson, and we get another lad in called Sam Gorgon, and they put on some good sessions. Darren does a lot of the dirty stuff behind the scenes that you don't really notice, but he's in around it. And Gary's just a very good like manager. He's good at getting the best out of what he's got, and people respect him for who he is. So they perform for him, and he doesn't allow people to be second best. So he wants the best for everybody, and that just seems to click, really. I mean, Daz doesn't say a lot, but he's there to do other things, and what it does do, it works. And together they've done everything right. And like saying, Graham, he don't get enough credit because he does a lot of the coaching, and no one really talks about Graham, but he puts a lot on and does it by the love of the game. So they try and do everything right for us, and they bring in people like Sam Gorgon, who's part of Peterborough United. So we get good sessions put in, and yeah, it's good quality. Can't fault them both, really.
Nice. I'm sure they both appreciate to hear that, especially from the skipper. So that celebration after the game, we can't ignore it. It was quite a bit of a celebration, wasn't there, after the Burko win?
Yeah.
And Gary was right at the front of it, from what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, that is not in one way going to result of the season going to change whoever wins the league. There's plenty of games to play, but then big games are massive, and you no matter who you are, you got to enjoy them wins. Otherwise, there's no point just turning up and playing and not enjoying it. So the big games are always massive, and they give it to us a little bit at their place. We give it to us at home when we lost to them. So we've got a revenge on both of them now, and we've enjoyed it, and we'll continue to enjoy winning games of football, because you're at that part of the season where we are top of the league, and people are going to try and make it hard for us to win, and they're in a way of achieving their goals. So we'll keep pushing away and ticking these games off, hopefully, and hopefully we can keep going and have a few more celebrations.
Nice one. Is that pretty much what obviously the gaffer said after the game in the changing room as well? Pretty
much. Like I say, that's like we've got 12 games left, is there?
Yeah, 12 to go.
You've got 12 games left. That's the title's not won. That can go either way. We could go on a losing streak, and you could fall into the playoffs. So that's just about trying to be consistent now for the next 10 games and see where we're at. But you just enjoy them, the big games in front of big crowds, especially at home. You've got to enjoy it.
Cool. And obviously, there's only really one target this year for Bedford, isn't there? And that's the ambition is get the club back up to step 3, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the goal at the beginning of the year. And that's why we're pushing it. And otherwise, if the goal wasn't a promotion or to be around a title winning side, that probably wouldn't have been the right club for me. But everything they're doing is superb, and they're getting it right off the pitch. That's happening right on the pitch as well at the minute. So, yeah, hopefully everything at Bedford is good at the minute. So, can't complain.
Cool. So what are your own objectives for this season and obviously beyond with Bedford?
Obviously, at the minute, that's just obviously I want to win the title with them this year, and that's the goal. We've set ourselves out to try and do that. If not, promotion's a minimum.
Yep.
And as for the following years, that's up to the club, isn't it? I mean, obviously, I'd like to keep going and push on, and obviously things change, budgets change. So hopefully the club can keep pushing on, and we can go higher as a club. And like I say, my goal is to try and get back up to the national leagues and things like that. But hopefully we can do that with Bedford. They've got everything in place to do that. And the owner, chairman, backs the club fully, and I think their ambitions are good. So I think the club will keep growing and progress.
I hope so as well. I mean, being I don't know if I told you, but Dan certainly knows. But being a Bedfordshire boy myself, because that's where I grew up, to see Bedford in Step 2 non-league would be amazing. That's where the club needs to be there, and hopefully one day, Eagles fans, the club will finally get to that point, because that is what the town deserves. Yeah, exactly. You know, you've got to dream big. You've got to dream big. Clubs do it. Clubs do it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of clubs that float and survive because that's their passion, and I get that. But also, I think there's time where clubs got to have a go and try and bring in the right manager who builds the right squad, and then that squad have got to push in and dig in for 40 games of the season to achieve the goals that the club want. That's tough, but it's achievable.
Absolutely. Unrelated question, but it's only because I looked at it earlier. I thought, I'm just going to refresh my memory. We mentioned him earlier again, the big man, right up top, obviously Rene. At the moment, he's tied for the Golden Boot with BJ Christie of Dunstable.
Yeah.
Where's your money going?
Looking at
They're
fixtures
both
coming
quality
up.
goal scorers.
I'm looking at fixtures coming up, and I'm going to back my man 100%.
Yeah.
I think we've got a goal that we want to achieve as a club and a team, and I think he thrives for that success and to be that main man. And I'd back him 100%.
Yeah, I like that. Confidence from the skipper. Right, let's finish off with the next game. So it is a home game this Saturday, taking on FC Romania. Now, obviously, everyone who knows Southern League, and especially Division 1 Central, it's always been a league the last 3 or 4 years where teams get points off each other.
Yeah.
That being said, no disrespect to them, but FC Romania are having a real bad run. So what are your obviously hopes and obviously ambitions going into that game, Alex?
As long as we defend properly, and because we're solid really when we want to be. As long as we defend properly and we work hard as a team, we always create chances, and I'll back my midfielders or my strikers to score goals. I always said that every game. I back him 100% to get us a goal. As long as we start on the front foot and we defend properly and not give silly chances away, we'll win games of football. Romania are going to set up to try and do something for us, and we'll set up to beat them. That's just as long as we bring our A game, that we should beat them.
And what was the reverse fixture earlier in the season between the two?
I think we won 1-0.
Okay.
Away from home. I think it was 1-0. I think it was a Callum Donnelly header, actually.
Right. Okay. Right, so there we go. We've got full of confidence going into the game on Saturday, Eagles fans. And Alex, we're going to, if it's okay, I think we're going to wrap it up there. We've pretty much bang on been about 31, 32 minutes, which is spot on. Thank you so much, because I know you're a very, very busy man.
That's all right, not a problem, anytime. Bless
you. Massive thank you to the Eagles fans over the last few days. We've been liking everything that's been going out and retweeting stuff. sharing the love of Bedford. Big thank you to Dan at Bedford, and obviously to Darren Eady as well, who spoke to me on Saturday before the game. And that's it, I think, now for Alex. Obviously, best of luck to you, obviously, for Saturday and for the rest of the season. And hopefully, Eagles fans, you're going to be in a very, very happy mood come May time.
Hopefully. No, thank you for your time, and hopefully see you at some more games.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alex.
No worries. See you later,
Have
mate.
a good
Take it
evening.
easy.
Yeah? Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.